Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our webinar. We're just going to wait a couple of minutes for everyone to join. We've got a few participants joining from around the world, so please bear with us for a couple of seconds and then we'll start our evening session. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Holborn Assets EU Golden Visa webinar. My name is Rob Hodson, and I'm one of the senior associates here at Holborn in Dubai. My colleague Shane is actually going to run through the presentation today, and we should be taking about half an hour. If you have any questions during the session, please add it into the Q&A tab at the bottom of the screen, and we'll do our best at the end of the presentation to answer as many of those as we can. And we will get back to everybody on an individual basis anyway, touch base and make sure everything was answered. So without further ado, I'll pass over to my colleague Shane and enjoy the webinar.
Hi guys, good to be here. Thank you for the invite. So yeah, today I think the opportunity that we're going to have is generally citizenship and residency via investment as a whole. We are going to focus on Portugal as a destination, but I think before we get there, it's important to understand what is available and what is citizenship via investment. Now, it's split into two different categories: directly to citizenship, which is a passport, or residency, which ultimately in most cases does lead to citizenship. If we're looking for our clients that are generally just looking for a travel document to be able to travel visa-free to all Schengen countries around the world, as well as the UK, then generally we're going to look in about the Caribbean. The Caribbean offers many different opportunities. Primarily, the best one there we're looking at is St. Lucia. And the reason why I say best is purely on a cost basis. That cost is quite reduced. I've got a new opportunity there called Alternative Investment Option. And through that, you are able to get a reduced costing. For a family of one, if you're looking for a single individual, you're looking at around about just over $100,000 all in. That will provide you with a passport, roughly about 4 months. And that passport then will lead for you and your family to be able to travel as well as live, work, and study within the Caribbean. Now, today we're going to focus more on the residency, and predominantly we're going to focus on Portugal. There are other options, as you can see, options depending on you as an individual, what will work better. The reason why we use Portugal, if we look at two countries right next to each other, Portugal and Spain, Portugal is offering you a residency. For that residency, you only have to spend 14 days within the country, whereas Spain, same residency, you have to spend at least 6 months in that country every single year. Portugal is a 5-year program, whereas Spain is a 10-year program. Your entry price for Portugal is 280,000, whereas your entry price for Spain is 500,000. So predominantly we focus more on the Portuguese side for Europe specifically, because that has a number of benefits that are in addition to the ones we've just gone through. So I think let's start with a couple of the slides just to see exactly what it all entails and how we can take advantage. Now, there's many reasons why people are choosing Portugal. Primarily, the main reason that they're looking at it is what they call a Plan B. Plan B means that you don't have to pack up and leave. You can remain in your country wherever you are at the moment. For a mere 14 days every 2 years, you can obtain citizenship. So after 5 years of holding a residency, 14 days of visit, you can lead to citizenship. There are other facets that we need to adhere to. The other main reason why people are looking at Portugal is the cost of living. Cost of living is quite low. And for that, you have a much better lifestyle and much more opportunity. This main reason why a lot of our current clients are looking towards it is they have a very good tax system. They have something called the non-habitual tax regime. This regime offers the resident an opportunity to pay reduced taxes, and in some cases, no taxes at all. The requirement is that you do have to have a residence or an address within Portugal, and from that, we are then able to live, work, and study there. And because of that, you can have reduced. It's a 10-year program. Initially, you would apply depending on what occupation you're looking at, but you're looking at around about 20% tax for a valued added employee. So someone with a high skill. 20% is on any income earned within Portugal. If you are looking at foreign-based pensions, you can reduce that down to 10%. It was 0 a couple of years ago. They have changed it last year. 10% on any foreign-based pensions. And then if you're tax exemption, so this is 0%. And what that benefit is any kind of property income or any kind of dividends. They have to be foreign-based sources, but those will be taxed at 0. So there's multiple different things that you can do there. What I'd recommend is obviously from a tax point of view and a financial structuring point of view, speak to Rob. He's the brains of the operations. I'm more of the looks, and he'll be able to go a little bit more deeper into that facet and help you out there. Now, Portugal, the Golden Visa, as we know. The Golden Visa started in 2012. The reason why that's important is because since then till now, people have started to get their passports. Most of my clients, if not all, are looking to be able to get a European passport. They understand, yes, it takes 5 years, but in this circumstance, people are actually getting it. So what it says on the package is actually what it is achieving. Other benefits is that it is now the #1 European program in the world. Over 10,000 applications have been approved, meaning we've got over 40,000 individuals walking around with residency cards and ultimately leading to citizenships. Yes, there's been a lot of talk in the press about, will this program last? Will it be around for much longer? Personally, I believe it will. There are, however, changes. Everything has to change. The more things stay the same, the more they change. And in this circumstance, we're expecting probably end of this year, we're expecting news that there will be a change to the program. Currently, no expectation this year of changes, but things with government always tend to slightly throw us off a little bit. So it's important, if this is something you're looking at doing, rather take advantage now and don't be one of those that thought I should have done it then. Now, who qualifies for the Golden Visa? Basically, anyone who's a non-EU citizen that does not hold a criminal record and is a family member of the main applicant. So your main applicant can include their spouse, married or unmarried. It can include children up until, there's no real age limit. We would probably say up until about 26, as long as those children are considered as dependent. And the way that we prove dependency is the fact that they have to be enrolled in full-time study. In addition to children, you can include both sets of parents, so your parents-in-law as well as your parents. If they're above the age of 65, fairly easy to include, as we don't need to prove that they are dependent. It's automatically assumed. Under the age of 65, it's important to know that we will need to prove a dependency of some sort. Now, what qualifies for the Golden Visa? If we look at the criteria and we go purely on the basis that it is a property investment, most of our clients, if not 95% of all our clients, prefer property because they understand it, they've seen it, they've been involved with it before. The property option within Portugal has changed slightly. So the end of 2021, beginning of last year, we had a change within the regime. And what that change was is certain areas like your main cities, you now no longer can purchase residential property. Doesn't mean you can't purchase property. We still can do that. The only requirement now is it has to be commercial based. So things like apartment hotels, holiday resorts, hotels, those now become our main contenders and the main sort of sectors that we deal with. The pricing, that ranges between cities and your main city centers. If you're looking at a brand new apartment or a brand new home, you're looking at 500,000, and that's any of your main city centers. That'll qualify you in any area within Portugal. If you're looking at a renovated property that is 30 years or older, then you can reduce that down to 350,000. And then one step further, if any of those apartments or homes are based within what they call a low density area, we can reduce those two prices by 20%. Therefore, the 280,000 now comes into play, and 400,000 for a new build. Alternatively, if property is not what you're looking for, there are alternatives. As with the changes in January 2022, all the other aspects have also changed. So your investment fund that was 350,000 is now 500,000. It's a bit of a new sort of category. It's been around for about 5 years, so we haven't really seen any of them mature yet. There are good investments in some cases, but we've got to make sure that we actually do our homework behind it. We've got a couple of options for our clients. If that's the kind of the option that you want, let us know. The other three options generally are not really taken up. If we look at something like the scientific research, which increased from 350 to 500, I think we've had 2 in the history of the Golden Visa. So we generally stay away from those. We can help if that's specifically the one you want, but we generally stay away from those. Property is always going to be the main investment category that clients are looking for. Now, once we've selected our investment, so one of those investments we would select, the process going forward is fairly simple. And the reason why it is simple is myself, my team, including Rob, we all work together with you to make sure that everything from A to Z works perfectly. Process starts off, we'd select an investment, whatever we've discussed, whatever the pricing, everything gets put in black and white. All the agreements are signed, and you would generally pay a deposit on certain properties. We would pay legal fees, and we would pay your tax numbers. That allows us then to be able to open up your tax numbers. So we call it NIF numbers. So anyone above the age of 18 would open up a NIF number. That leads then to being able to open up a bank account. The bank account has to be domiciled within Portugal, and it has to be opened within the main member's name. So whoever the main applicant is, the bank account will be opened up in their name. Again, all of this is done remotely. So we do assist with all the ins and outs of this. Once the account is open and we've now validated that account, we are then able to transfer the funds from wherever they are in the world into your new Portuguese bank account. That would then allow you and the lawyers to work together to purchase your property and get the deed in your name. That deed becomes important because once we have that deed, we are now able to submit your application. Along with that deed, we would send through birth certificates for children, we would send through marriage certificate for spouses, and we would generally send through anyone above the age of 18 police clearances from your residence wherever you are living in the world now. All of that submitted, the SCF, which is the immigration division within Portugal, will now analyze your application, and we will get what they call a pre-approval. The reason why I say we will get your pre-approval is because if we look at our past record, we've had over 2,000 applications in different areas, different regions submitted with 100% success record. So it's something we're quite proud of. Once your approval has now come through, we will then wait for what they call a biometric appointment date. Biometrics requires you to go across, you and the entire family, so all applicants to Portugal. We'll give you a date, we'll give you a time, and the lawyers will be with you during that interview. That then requires you to do fingerprints, biometrics, photographs, all that will be done, and they'll be able to issue your final approval. Once we have your final approval, your cards will be issued. These are residency cards. Those cards allow you visa pre-travel to Schengen, if that's what your country doesn't allow. And it allows you to live, work, and study within Portugal. Gives you the same rights as any Portuguese citizen. You just cannot vote, run for office, or utilize their passport yet. If at any point in time you have any questions, please feel free to put it in your Q&A section, and we'll make sure that we address it. Now, onto what everybody is wanting. Everybody that starts this process is generally looking to get or either obtain permanent residence or citizenship. Now, to be able to obtain those two statuses, it's fairly simple. You need to renew your Golden Visa every 2 years. So every 2 years, you need to now prove that you've been there your 14 days, you still have your property, and that you've continued to move down the program. In year 2, year 4, you do your renewal. In year 5, however, you now have the right to be able to move from a Golden Visa into a permanent residency or citizenship. One model extra jump to be able to do that. You need to pass a language test. There's a basic language test. It's an A2 level European language test, and it's your most basic form of test that you can get. Most of my clients are taking about 6 months to learn. A couple of tutors involved, but fairly simple to be able to pass. Once you start the process, you'll see the language is picked up fairly quickly. However, once you pass that language test, we now have opportunity to obtain the 5th best passport in the world. Same level as UK, slightly better than the UK passport because you're able to live, work, and study anywhere within the EU. So currently all 27 member states, that gives you a massive opportunity. The passport, however, also gives you 187 countries visa-free travel, which include all the Americas, UK, the Australias, and you can even visit me down here in South Africa. Recap quickly. Process, you're looking at about, we say 10.5 months. Realistic, we were probably looking at about a 12-month process. We will obviously work towards doing it in less time than that, but 12 months work on that. That will then allow us to get your Golden Visa. In year 2, year 4, we'll have to renew that Golden Visa, and in year 5, we will then apply for your citizenship. Generally, 6 months before before your application is required, we can then put forward your application. So, fairly straightforward in the process. Now, what properties are available? Everybody's looking for property, and we have a nice variety. A lot of our products we base close to Lisbon, obviously being the main city center and the capital of Portugal. But we have a fair selection of opportunity within the Algarve area. The Algarve area is more the Mediterranean type of feel, so a little bit warmer seas, warmer climate, but we have stuff in between as well. So these are the areas we're going to focus on today. As I said to you before, your categories start off at 280,000. Now, the first 280,000 property that we're going to look at is one called the Holiday Inn BEJA. It's the most basic, easiest format of obtaining the Golden Visa. And the reason why that is because it's almost money in, money out. The property itself is under renovation or under construction. It will be finished in 2024, quarter 4. What the opportunity for yourself is the fact that they will cover certain costs. So you're looking at roughly about 3.5% return over a 5-year period. However, to avoid having to pay too many taxes, the developer has agreed to pay certain costs on your behalf. So therefore, being able to reduce the overall cost and obviously help your pocket. Other benefits that this hotel offers is you are able to utilize any of their hotels 7 days per year, free of charge. Your capital is 100% secured with what we call a buyback agreement. The buyback agreement is put in place that whatever your retail cost is, so your 280,000, the developer has agreed that they will buy back that property at the end of the process. So once you've obtained your citizenship or your permanent residency, they will then buy back that property from you at the same 280,000. Yes, there's no uplift on that side of things. However, you've got the security from any downside. Okay. As I said, most simple way of obtaining your Golden Visa. The second option that we have is fairly similar to the Holiday Inn with a slight caveat. Almost very similar areas as well. So this is WYNDHAM Gardens. Again, placed a little bit more inland, about 80 kilometers in between Lisbon and the Algarve. And this specific offering is again offering you a co-ownership. So you will have ownership of the entire development. Again, they will pay your developer costs, which include IMT tax, which is a transfer fee, as well as your VAT. But this one's slightly different. This one here is offering what they call a rental yield of 30,000 euro. So again, you can use this as part of your costs to reduce any type of costs. Again, 100% buyback. And again, you can use their hotels 7 days per year. Right? A lot of this developers' hotels are still under construction, so there are a number of other options that you can utilize. Lastly, and again, we're staying in the 280,000 option, is the yellow tulip. Different to the first two in the fact that this property is already built, and the fact that this is a freehold title deed. So you would own these apartments individually within your own name. The other two are more what we call co-ownership. So your name will be added to the title deed together with all other investors. Both have security in the fact that if anything should happen, you have the properties within your name and you are able to take a recourse. Now, the yellow tulip is in an area called ALVOR. It's in between an area called Lagos and Portimao. Now, Portimao is where the Formula One MotoGP racetrack is, so your international raceway. And it's probably a little bit of a bigger city. ALVOR, however, is one of those places that it's got the feel of a fishing village, but the attraction of a city. So very, very nice place to be. And this is in walking distance of the beach. Now, their offering here is a range between 285,000 and 293,000 euro. What that will get you is it'll get you one unit. One unit consists of 2 apartments. Those apartments will be registered within your name as a full title deed. And because of that, you now have full ownership of those units. Again, it does give you the developer costs. The developer will cover your IMT tax, stamp duty, and notary costs. But this one, again, slightly different. That buyback agreement is more what we call an optional agreement. Gives you the opportunity to have best of both worlds. From day one, you would sign it, so you would have security that your capital is secured. However, from year 4, you can decide, thank you very much, I want to now cancel my buyback agreement. If you cancel your buyback agreement, you have the right to be able to sell this on the open market or even keep it going forward. The benefits of keeping it going forward is from year 6 onwards, you now start to earn 50% of the rental pool. Yes, they're aiming for the 15s and the 16% rental yields. What I would look at is a little bit more of a hesitant growth. You're looking at probably more 4 to 5%. That way, when you do get your 6-7%, you'll be a lot happy with me. This specific property, unlike the two before, you can utilize 2 weeks per year. Right? While it is under renovation, you are able to use other apartments within the ALGARVE area. Right? So there's a lot of information that we're throwing at you. This is just the 280,000 category, for instance. Again, any questions you have, let us know. But on a more personalized basis, if you want to, we can arrange an individual appointment to be made, and we can go through all of this one-on-one. That way, giving you more indication on pricing, more indication of costs. So these are your 280,000 options. We do have 350 and we do have 400,000 options. Purely from a time point of view, I didn't want to not show you this one. This is a 500,000 category, but it is probably one of our most profitable, if not the most profitable option in the Golden Visa currently. It's called Royal OBIDOS or Royal OBIDOS. It is a 5-star resort, has a 5-star hotel on board. The hotel is designed by Philip Stark. The PGA golf course, last year the European Open was there. And that specific golf course is designed by Sevi Ballesteros before he passed away. Opportunity for you will be to buy an individual unit, as you can see here. It is on the coastline. So it is on the waterfront. It's about, call it 45 minutes away from Lisbon as a capital. And it's on what they call the Silver Coast. Now, the opportunity for yourself is to buy one of these apartments. It's a 1-bedroom apartment starting at 500,000 euro. However, we will give you a 7% return. 7% for 5 years, and that will all be paid up front. Yes, we have to do tax. They say there's nothing guaranteed except death and taxes. So on this one, we have to do a withholding tax at 25%, which leaves 5.25% net, times 5 gives you a return of about 131,000 euro. That can then be deducted from your 500,000 euro, meaning that your total cost is 368,000 euro. That cost, together with your fees, your Golden Visa costs, your legal fees, will all be added together. And once you received your return, your buyback, again, this one's optional, it'll come out as a profit. So this is one of the only programs within the Golden Visa where at the end of the day, we're almost paying you to do it. So it is very beneficial. The other benefit comes in the fact that we have options for our owners to use the property 6 weeks per year. Yes, it's split. 3 weeks in your peak season, 3 weeks in your mid to off season, but it gives you a lot of opportunities to stay there. As I say, PGA golf course, very, very nice place to visit. Now, additional costs. People always ask me, what additional costs are there? There are going to be some additional fees. You have your government fees, which is your application fees, your permit costs. These are generally 539 euro now. They have increased from 532 euro. 5,324 euro for your card fees. Your stamp duty, INT tax, you're looking at about 7.3%. But again, all this will be on an individual basis. So it will be related to how many applicants we put forward and how old those applicants are. And that we can generate depending on what your requirements are. So I think, Rob, I'm going to leave it at that point. I know we've kind of crammed a lot of information into a very quick summary, but I think that's a good point to leave it on.
No problem at all. Thank you very much, Shane. We do have a couple of questions that cropped up actually before tonight's session on some people that were attending. One person asked, is purchasing a number of properties in a particular EU country a good strategy? I think that's quite an easy one for us to answer.
Yeah, you want to take that one?
Well, I was going to say, obviously, it doesn't really make it applicable for the EU Golden Visa program, and could actually turn out to be far more expensive than actually doing the minimum 280 for the TULIP or one of the other projects. Do you agree?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. So it does come down to that. If you're going to buy multiple properties in multiple different places, then you've got a lot more management, you've got a lot more processes to follow. The 280,000 is a simplistic way of obtaining your Portuguese visa and ultimately your citizenship.
Good. Another person asked if there's how long is the physical stay in Portugal to qualify for the program?
Okay, so you and your family members, so each person now becomes an individual. All of you would need to be there at least 14 days every 2 years. And what that means is when you do your renewal in year 2 and year 4, you have to prove that you have been there 14 days prior. Okay. So whether you split that up into 7 days a year or 14 days in 1 year, that will be up to you, as long as you can prove you've been there 14 days altogether.
Lovely. Another client has asked if there are any nationality restrictions on applying for a Golden Visa.
So the Golden Visa states, well, Portugal states that they're not going to discriminate. They can't discriminate against any nationality. So your short answer is no. Unfortunately, there is a restriction on Russian clients. So the Russian clients, we can't open up bank accounts at the moment. So we can't even apply for the Golden Visa. So that's the only restriction as we speak right now is, unfortunately, Russian clients, we can't help. Okay. We do have other solutions for those clients, but for Portugal specific, unfortunately, we can't help.
Okay. And the last question was sort of regarding time frame. They wanted to confirm sort of the average time frame before they would obtain the Golden Visa and be allowed to move, reside and work in Portugal.
So this currently is a subject which is quite, it's a moving post. So it is getting better and better and better and better as we go along. So now, once we're looking at SEF renewals for certain categories, they now no longer have to go in person. So that is an automatically done online process, which has now freed up a lot of the time on the SEF. So I'm generally telling clients 12 months. I'm probably going to do it in less than that, but to give a nice realistic timeline, say 12 months, and we'll probably do it quicker.
That's lovely. Perfect. I should turn my handsome photo back on, as apparently I'm the brains, not the looks. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and thank you, Shane, for all the information. As I mentioned, we will get back to everybody individually just to make sure we've answered your questions and to see if you've anything else we can help you with. And just once again, thank you very much for attending. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys. Bye.